What is up guys, name is Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Now I wasn't expecting to update the tier list so soon because I just recently updated with the release of Ganyu at the end of patch 1.2, but the reason for that is that I will possibly skip Xiao, so I won't have my hands on her. I can't give a proper opinion on her, so I will make this through the other content creators or through my theory crafting. I will rank Xiao at maybe patch 1.4 or patch 1.5, so you can expect no further update on my tier list until patch 1.4 or patch 1.5. This will be the earliest where I will update my tier list. Yeah, in this video I will mainly talk about the additions, so maybe some general information about my in-depth tier list. So this tier list considers all units to be Constellation 0 and you have to be Adventure Rank 50 plus. So if you're under Adventure Rank 50 and if your character is not Constellation 0, then this is like maybe just an orientation for you guys. If you have troubles or problems with reading through the different roles, through the different tiers, you just can press pause anytime so you can read this for yourself. The only thing that I'd like to explain now is like the last three columns, C1, C2, C4 or C6, which is possible constellations that give a huge power spike which move the character up in the tier list. So I will choose a good example to explain that. For example, the Yana, we consider him, so I made the tier list mainly with my friends, and since patch 1.2 to patch 1.3 nothing really changed, so I will put like the last video at the end card. So if you want to like know about certain things about your specific character, then you can just watch the last video. I talked about literally every character in the last video. In this video I will mainly focus on the new additions of patch 1.3. Yeah, now let's come back to the column. So I consider, or we consider Diona as an A plus support character at C0 at Adventure Rank 50. But if you have her Constellation 6, we would move her up a whole tier to the S tier. So if you have a Constellation 6, you would move up in tier list. So other units, they still can have like impactful constellations, but if we don't think that these constellations would move the character up because they're on so much better than they were before, then we didn't move them up. Last thing is the overall column, which means it is just the average of all the tiers that the character possibly has a category in. So if the character doesn't have the usual role as a main DPS or sub DPS, of course maybe I do know that they're all DPS Barbara builds out there, but usually you wouldn't use her as in these roles, so we just built it the average between all the categories and then we give him an overall tier list, which I will show at the end in an TLDR screenshot, so you just can have a look at the characters. Yeah, last thing is just that we add in some notes, like some additional information about the characters. So as I already said, I won't go over the characters. I did this in the last video. Nothing changed from patch 1.2 to patch 1.3. There may be some changes in the future when patch 1.4 or patch 1.5 or live. But for now, I will just show you like tiers if you want to know like about a specific character, you want to know more about them, then just watch the last video. As I already said, I will put it at the end of the last video, of this video. I will put it at the end of the end card, so you can just watch this video. Yeah, let's talk about the additions. We have two new additions. That's all basically the Zhongli buffs and Xiao, and let's talk about Zhongli first. So you can see that there are a lot of S's here. For Zhongli it was very tough, because I heavily played Zhongli, the old Zhongli and also the new Zhongli. I tested them. For the new Zhongli I didn't took too much time to figure out what his strengths are. Definitely you guys should know by now that his Jade Shield Elemental Resistance Shred is his strongest ability that gives him the power to be in these categories and to be in this tier. Now, first I gave Zhongli an A on the main DPS role, but Then I was looking at what other characters are in this role, and I definitely do think that he is stronger than Xinyan. Maybe Xinyan will move up with C0, but actually she does need constellations to be stronger. But yeah, that's not the topic for now. So I compared him with Zhongli, the other Polyom user, which we did put at C0 in the S tier. And Zhongli is now possibly the strongest physical damage carry. So A didn't make any sense, so he is at least S tier. But of course he is not as strong as a character like Klee or Diluc or Ganyu that are in the top class of the main DPS role. For sub DPS, this one was very hard to decide because I actually would give him the SS tier, but if I would give him the SS tier, then he would be better than Venti. And as I note, I said that he's probably now the second best unit in the game after Venti. Maybe you don't have to agree with that, but in my personal opinion, at least he's now the second best support in the game. He's even better than Bennett right now, in my personal opinion. Then I think that at least this is his role. But in my opinion, he is the second best unit in the game. Yeah, I think that in a gacha game like Genshin Impact, it is very important that a unit has to be versatile. A unit has to be or should be able to do or clear a lot of different type of contents, which Venti can do. Venti is literally good in any type of content, as well as Zhongli now. With his buff, he is now good in every type of content. In exploration, in overworld content, in Spiral Abyss, in every dungeon, he exceeds now. And that's like the big important factor. Yeah, but still, as a sub DPS, I think that is not too... he's not too far away, so at least I would give him like this. So that's why I changed the support aspect for Venti for SS+, because Venti is like so broken that SS is like not enough for him. Only his support capabilities are so much stronger. He can be worked as a DPS character, but Zhongli definitely is better in that role. So I want to compare Zhongli now to Venti, because he is like the closest the closest conqueror. Yeah, he's like the closest conqueror to Venti. So I would say that his sub DPS, yeah, I think this one is still really tough, because I would actually give Zhongli an SS over there, but then he would be better than Venti, and I don't see Zhongli being a better unit than Venti at the moment, and that's the only reason why I would give him an S+ in the sub DPS. Maybe I think have to figure out another solution in the future, but for now, definitely S+ is where he does belong at least. Support capability, he definitely deserves that. He is now one of the strongest units in the game. As I said, I state him personally as the second best unit in the game right now. Exploration was as before, even in the last tier list, you know, he can farm your ores. He makes it very easy for you. Also, he makes the new Spiral Abyss even easier. The last Spiral Abyss, he was already very strong, but in the current Spiral Abyss, he makes it so easy. So I was able to clear it with different types of main DPS characters only because I used Zhongli. Maybe you will see footage of that in one of the videos, or I already posted that, but definitely, like in the same time frame when this tier list is live, you will also see some additional footage where I use Zhongli in the Spiral Abyss. So makes him overall a SS tier category now. Let's move on to the next unit, which is Xiao. Xiao was a very tough one. I tested Xiao pretty heavily, but first of all, he's no sub DPS, he is no support, he's a selfish character, and I think that I can clearly say that he is not more than an S character, maybe S+. I think he's not on the level as Ganyu, Klee, and Diluc at the moment. He definitely can put out some very high numbers, but because of all his issues, because you have to build a team around him, I cannot put him over the S tier for now. I think that his issues cannot give him like the tier. He does need a healer, he does need off-field supports to work, but other than that, his damage, his raw damage output is insanely strong. For exploration, I give him the SS tier because you can use his E while flying, so you can avoid like landing in the water. Also, he has the talent where he decreases the stamina for climbing. I think these are two very good abilities for exploration. For the current Abyss, I give him the S tier. I think he's not a must. I think there are much better choices. Not much better choices, but at least there are better choices than Xiao for the Abyss. But he is very good, very solid for the current Abyss. If you have him at Constellation 6, so I actually think that all his constellations are worthless except for Constellation 6. If you have him at this, his damage output is insanely strong because his E ability already has a very high multiplier. It does a lot of damage, but if you don't have him at C6, you usually only would use the E to generate elemental particles. Then you will go into the ultimate, and in the elemental burst ultimate, you won't use the E ability, even though it does a lot of damage, because you want to save that to generate yourself some more elemental particles. And that's a problem for Xiao that I see before he is Constellation 6. But if he is Constellation 6, I think that he can possibly even suppress Ganyu. And I'm not joking about that. He can possibly suppress Ganyu at C6. So only SS if he is Constellation 6. Now, at the end, he still has 2 S and 1 S. So we gave him the S plus tier at the end, with the note that he is an insanely DPS, but he has some issues that must be fixed through your team comp. And yeah, that's like his issue. Yeah, you can see Hu Tao and Rosaria on the screen right now, which I'm pending. So as I already said, I won't update them so soon. Yeah, let's go like in the big tier list so you can see it all in one picture. Alright, so this is the overall tier list where we did put the average tier categories for all the characters, so we can place them in one picture so you can see the characters. This is the old tier list from patch 1.2. I will update this right away. So the first change I want to make is Zhongli, that he will move up all the way from there to here as the second best unit in the game. I would say that this is like the accurate order where I want to put the SS tier units. Would say Venti number 1, Zhongli number 2, Bennett number 3, Ganyu number 4, and Diluc number 5. Reason for that is I think that support characters are much more important than DPS characters. DPS characters are replaceable by other DPS characters. You can make them work, but I think support characters at the moment are not too replaceable, because before Zhongli there was no other unit like Bennett that can do the same. Now you can play even both of them together, or you can play one of them in your team and you're fine. Now the newest addition, as I said, is Xiao. Where I would put Xiao is I would put in like here or here. These two, they have like similar issues. The only reason I would put Klee here is because she can make use of Vaporize and Melt, so she possibly can outdamage Xiao, but she has like same issues. She does need a off-field supporter, she does like need someone to protect her, she does need a heal, she does need someone who protect or fix her clunkiness. And for Xiao it is like that he is so selfish. Yeah, I think that I would like do it in this order. Keqing and at the bottom of the S plus tier. Keqing is of course very, very strong, but I think that like the units that are here, they do outperform Keqing. Fischl slightly at C6. If you have a like C0, she's already insanely good because she can do so much, but Keqing is like the most versatile carry in the game, which is the reason why I did put her here. For the S tier, the tiers below, we didn't have a specific order, so this only applies to SS and S plus tier. Yeah, that's already it. Hope you guys did enjoy my tier list. Of course, last important thing that I want to say is enjoy the game for yourself and don't look on the tier list too harsh. But I do tier lists because I want to give people an orientation and tell them if units are good or not for specific content. But I can tell you guys my favorite unit is Beidou, and I put her down here. And important thing is that you have fun, use the units that you like, and If you want to know what's good, watch my tier list, subscribe to this channel, and look out for more Genshin Impact content. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe would help me out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen now. Make sure to check them out, and I thank you for your support.